One of the questions I get asked quite often, which I thought I'd answer today, is Scout your familiar? So if you're a witch, you must have a familiar, right? That's how it works. So the thing to bear in mind is there's a historical context to witches' familiars that you need to know about. So during the witch trials in Europe and in America, um, witches' familiars were something that people said witches always had, and it was one of the marks of being a witch. It was one of the ways in which witches were identified. So if I wanted to accuse my neighbour of being a witch because I didn't like something she'd done, what I might do is say, look, she's a witch, and I can prove it because she's got a dog, so that must mean that's her familiar. Now, familiars weren't animals, they were impish spirits from the fiery pits of hell that took on animal form. So, we're talking about a worldview which is very different to the worldview in which witches exist today. In the witch trials, firstly, the people that were accused of witchcraft weren't actually witches in the way that we are today. And secondly, they were said to be under the spell or in the power of Satan, right? Now, I'm a pagan. I'm a practicing modern pagan. That means I'm not a monotheist. That means that I don't worship Satan because he comes from a worldview that isn't my worldview. He comes from the monotheistic religions that have a very binary sense of good and evil. So you have God and you have Satan at the other end, and they're two complete opposites. In modern paganism, just as with ancient paganism, that's not how we see the divine. We see the divine as being a bit more of a grey scale. It's not a black and white situation, it's not a binary. Scout, my familiar, is obviously very bored because she wants me to move on. So, you'll often find these lovely depictions of witches' familiars. There's a really famous one from the time of Matthew Hopkins, the Witchfinder General, where he shows witches' familiars and gives the names of them. So you have things like Vinegar Tom is one of them, and they look like animals, but they're not quite. They might take the form of a rabbit or a cat or a toad sometimes, witches were said to have toad companions. My spaniel is not one of those. So Scout is my non-human animal companion. She's very much a spaniel. She's very much naughty. She's got her own mind, and she's not in the pay of Satan because that's not how we work around here. She's just down there waiting for me to throw a stick for her. So the chances are, if you see me out and about in the world, it's likely I'll have Scout with me because she goes where I go. However, she's not my familiar in that way. She is my non human animal companion who I go on adventures with. So, if you want to learn anything more about the things that I've been talking about today, or want to learn how to live a more witchy path, you can either come find me on my website, come read my books, or come and find me on some of my online classes. Speak to you soon.